Hi guys, in this video we'll be discussing the second half of the problem set 4a, which is from the chapter Financial Planning, Max 1. Okay, so without wasting time, let's get started. Okay, so this is the 7th question from the problem set. Till question number 6 we already discussed in the previous video. So the rest problems we'll be discussing in this lecture. A dealer supplied walkie-talkie set of rupees 84,000 with GST, that means this amount includes GST in it, to police control room. Rate of GST is 12%. Find the amount of state and central GST charged by the dealer. Also, find the taxable value of the set. So here the taxable value is not given. Here the amount including GST is given. Rate of GST is given. Now we need to find the taxable value of the set. So total selling price rupees 84,000 and GST is 12%. So first we know that total price means taxable amount plus GST, and total price is given to be 84,000. So if we let the taxable amount be X or assign variable X to taxable amount, then GST will be 12% of that X and taxable amount is X. So X plus 12% of X should be equal to 84,000, which is given in the question. Okay. Now you solve this equation to one more step, wherein we will equalize the denominator. So 100 upon 100x plus 12 upon 100x, and that will become 112x upon 100 is equal to 84,000. So x should be 84,000 multiplied by 100 divided by 112. If you solve it, you will get it to be 75,000. So the taxable value of the set is 75,000. Okay. Now the taxable value we had to find. We also need to find the amount of state and central GST. That means SGST and CGST. So SGST will be 6% of the taxable amount, and CGST also will be 6% of taxable amount. Now here they have given the total GST percentage. So we can find the total GST by applying 12% on taxable amount, which is 75,000. That will be 9,000, and out of 9,000, half the amount, that is 4,500, will be CGST and half the amount will be SGST. So that is how we will conclude. Now let's see the next question. So this is the next question. A wholesaler purchased electric goods for the taxable amount of rupees 1,50,000. He sold it to the retailer for the taxable amount of rupees 1,80,000. Next, the retailer sold it to the customer for the taxable amount of rupees 2,20,000. The rate of GST is 18%. So at every transaction, 18% of GST will be applied. Show the computation of GST in tax invoices of sales. Also, find the payable CGST and payable SGST for wholesaler and retailer. So, tax invoices of sales. First, we will discuss about the wholesaler's tax invoice. So the wholesaler sold it to the retailer. So the amount at which it was sold is 1,80,000. So here the taxable amount will be 1,80,000. Next, rate of GST is 18%. So 18% of 1,80,000 is 32,400. And we should also show the computation of CGST and SGST in the invoice. So that will be 9% of 1,80,000, and that is rupees 16,200. So if you take half of this amount, or if you divide the GST amount by 2, still you are getting the same thing. Okay, you find either ways. You find 9% of 1,80,000, or if you find the total GST and find its half, still the amount will be same. So CGST and SGST will be 16,200. Next will be the retailer's invoice. The retailer sold it to the customer for 2,20,000. So here the taxable amount will be 2,20,000. The invoice is on sales. Okay. So the selling price we are writing. Rate of GST is 18% and GST is 39,600. Okay. That is 18% of 2,20,000 is rupees 39,600. And 9% of 2,20,000 will be 19,800. So this is the CGST and SGST. So these are the details in invoices, tax invoices of sales. Now we also need to find the payable CGST and payable SGST for wholesaler and retailer. That calculations will show in the right side. So let's start with wholesalers payable tax. So first thing is, what is wholesalers input tax and what is wholesalers output tax? So the wholesaler purchased the electric goods for 1,50,000. So the input tax will be 18% of 1,50,000. That is, payable GST is equal to output tax minus input tax credit. Now output tax will be 18% of the amount at which the goods were sold, and that is 18% of 1,80,000. Now the goods were purchased by the wholesaler at 1,50,000. So on that, if you apply the rate of GST, you will get the input tax credit. So 18% of 1,80,000 minus 18% of 1,50,000 will be the payable GST. So that will be rupees 32,400 minus 27,000, and that will be rupees 5,400. So payable GST for wholesaler is rupees 5,400. Now similarly, we will have to find for the retailer also. Now retailer's payable tax will be, the retailer purchased it from the wholesaler for 1,80,000. So while purchased, the tax paid was 18% of 1,80,000, and the retailer sold it to the customer for rupees 2,20,000. So the output tax will be 18% of 2,20,000. The payable GST is output tax minus input tax, which is 18% of 2,20,000 minus 18% of 1,80,000, and that will be 39,600 minus 32,400, and that is rupees 7,200. So in the first case, the GST payable was 5,400. In the second case, the GST payable is 7,200. Now, the details regarding payable CGST and SGST also is written over here. Half of 5,400 will be CGST and half of it will be SGST. So accordingly, we will get rupees 2,700 in the first case, and for the retailer's tax, 7,200 is the total tax. So half of it, that is 3,600, will be CGST and 3,600 of it will be SGST payable. Okay, that's it with the 8th question. So this is the 9th question. Anna Patil, Thane, Maharashtra, supplied vacuum cleaner to a shopkeeper in Vasai, Mumbai for the taxable value of rupees 14,000 and GST rate of rupees 28. GST rate of 28%. Shopkeeper sold it to the customer at the same GST rate for rupees 16,800. Now this is the taxable value. Find the following. First, we need to find amount of CGST and SGST shown in the tax invoice issued by Anna Patil. Next, amount of CGST and SGST charged by the shopkeeper in Vasai. And finally, what is the CGST and SGST payable by shopkeeper in Vasai at the time of filing the return? First, invoice 1, which is Anna Patil, the bill which given by Anna Patil to shopkeeper. So in that, the taxable value is 40,000 and rate of GST is 28%. So GST will be 28% of 14,000, and that is rupees 3,920 rupees. Next, half of it is CGST and half of it is SGST. So CGST and SGST will be 1,960. So this is the invoice 1. Next, amount of CGST and SGST charged by the shopkeeper in Vasai. So for that, the invoice 2, shopkeeper to customer transaction. Now the taxable value is 16,800. GST rate is 18%, is 28%. So GST will be 28% of 16,800, which will be rupees 4,704. Now half of it is CGST and half of it is SGST. So both will be amount 2,352. Now that's all with the first and second half of the question. Now the third part of the question is, what is the CGST and SGST payable by shopkeeper in Vasai at the time of filing the returns? So we need to find the GST payable. For that, we are going to discuss about output tax and input tax. So GST payable by shopkeeper will be, first, the input tax credit is rupees 3,920, because this is the amount of tax paid by the shopkeeper while purchase. That is, while he purchased the goods from Anna Patil, he paid 3,920 as tax. So that was the input tax credit. Now the output tax will be the tax he collected from the customer, which is the tax in the invoice 2, that is rupees 4704 is the output tax. Now GST payable will be difference between them, that is 4704 minus 3920, which is rupees 784. So this is payable GST. Now we need to find payable CGST and SGST. Now payable GST, once you find, half of it will be payable CGST and half of it will be payable SGST. So payable CGST is 392 and payable SGST is also 392 rupees. Very simple question. Only thing is that everything is covered under this. In first we are writing the invoice, and then we are finding the payable CGST, payable SGST. Otherwise, it's using the basic concepts which we already learned. Let's see the next question. For the given trading chain, prepare the tax invoice 1, 2, 3. GST at rate of 12% was charged for the article supplied. So here what is happening? From wholesaler to distributor, the taxable value is 5,000 at first step. Then for the distributor it becomes 6,000. Then from distributor to retailer, for retailer the taxable value of the product is 6,500, and from retailer to consumer. So at 3 stages the trade is happening. 3 transactions are happening. So we need to prepare tax invoice 1, 2 and 3 for the 3 transactions that are happening. Now prepare the statement of GST payable under each head by the wholesaler, distributor and retailer at the time of filing the return to the government. So we also need to find the statement of payable GST, and at the end what amount is paid by the consumer. That also we need to find, and write which of the invoices issued are B2B and B2C. So the third question now itself we can answer. B2B means business to business invoice, and B2C means business to consumer invoice. Tax invoice 1 is business to business. Tax invoice 2 is B2B again, whereas tax invoice 3 is from business to consumer or business to customer. First, invoice 1 is B2B, which the third part of the question I am writing here itself, the answer. Wholesaler to distributor. So here the taxable value is rupees 5,000. GST is 12%. Rate of GST is 12%. So GST will be 12% of 5,000, and that is rupees 600. CGST will be half, 300, and half of it will be SGST, that is 300. So this is the details regarding invoice 1, which is business to business invoice. So total amount is 5,000 plus 600, that is 5,600. Next, GST payable is rupees 600 here. Here at the first step, the from wholesaler to distributor the transaction is happening. There is no information regarding from where the wholesaler got or the wholesaler purchased it. The transaction is starting from the wholesaler himself. So here there is only input tax, no output tax. Here is only output tax, no input tax. So the full GST, that is rupees 600, will go as GST payable. Next, invoice 2 is again B2B, because distributor to retailer, both business to business transaction. So here the taxable value is rupees 6,000 and GST is 12% of 6,000, that is rupees 720. Next comes CGST, SGST, which is half of 720 both. Now the total amount will be 6,720. And here the GST payable will be 720 minus 600. Now GST payable means output tax minus input tax. Output tax is tax collected while sale, and input tax is tax paid while purchase. So for distributor, that is by invoice 2, for distributor the tax collected is 720 and the tax paid is 600. So 720 minus 600 will be GST payable, and that is rupees 120. Next is invoice 3, which is from business to consumer, that is retailer to consumer. Taxable value here is 6,500. Again GST will be 12% of 6,500, that is rupees 780. CGST will be half of it, 390. Hence SGST is also 390, and the total amount will be 7,280. Again the GST payable here will be Now the tax collected while sale is 780 and tax paid while purchase is 720. So 780 minus 720 will be the GST payable at this stage. That is rupees 60. So first, in the first step, the tax payable for wholesaler is 600, the tax payable for distributor is 120, and finally the tax payable for retailer is rupees 60. And the invoice, this amount, the third invoice, total 7,280 is the amount that is at the end paid by the consumer. So all three questions we have answered. Which invoices are B2B and which are B2C, that we mentioned. We also found the GST payable at all three different stages, and the amount that is paid by the consumer also we found. The tax invoice details also we calculated. So that's the 10th question. So that was the last question from your problem set 4A. And I hope you liked the video, and if you like it, please share it with your friends, and please subscribe the channel, and do ask your doubts and queries in the comment section below. And for the full chapter, please refer to the description box. I have provided the link to the full chapter of financial planning and several other chapters that we have covered in the channel. So that's it. Thank you.